Hello, this is Professor Donna Byrne, and this is an estate and gift tax online module. We've been talking about the gross estate, and in this presentation we will focus on section 2036A2, control over income from property. Now just to review, you'll remember that 2036A1 had three big requirements. First, the decedent made a transfer during life. The decedent retained possession or retained a right to income, and it was retained for the decedent's whole life or something similar to that. That was pretty straightforward. So this is still section 2036, so it's very closely related. Decedent made a transfer and retained, but now it's a little bit different. It's control over the income interest instead of the actual income for the decedent's self. So here's the language: retained the right, either alone or in conjunction with any other person, to designate the persons who shall possess or enjoy the property or the income therefrom. So this is about controlling who gets the income. And if these criteria are met, then we include the whole value of the corpus in the gross estate. So again, we're including the value of property that may have been subject to the gift tax, but we'll sort that out when we calculate the tax. So for now, just don't think about the gift tax. Okay, now, remember Farkas versus Williams in the Estates and Trusts course? That was where the decedent had transferred stock to a revocable trust and had kept the income for life, had also been the trustee, and the court said, well, the trust is a separate entity, and therefore Williams, who got the remainder, received something right away during his life, during the decedent's life, even though it was very fragile, could be revoked at any time, but therefore the stock is not part of decedent's estate, won't go to the intestate heirs. Now, 2036A2 is one of the ways that the estate tax includes the value of something that is not part of the probate estate. Now, the focus is on the strings that the donor decedent retained, or the powers that the decedent retained over the income interest. Okay, so you read United States versus O'Malley, I hope. Yes, you read it? So Fabrice had created an irrevocable trust. Actually 5 of them that they were identical. So we'll pretend there's just one. Yeah. He was one of 3 trustees, and the trustees had discretion to pay or accumulate income. Accumulated income would be added to principal, and that means that it becomes part of the remainder eventually. So what do we know so far? Fabrice made a transfer. He retained a right to control the income for his life, even though he didn't retain the income for himself. And everybody agrees that the value of the original corpus is included in the gross estate. Now, so this is classic, straightforward 2036A2. Yeah, that part you should understand. Okay, so the goofy part, though, was that accumulated income that was added to principal. Is that value also included? And the court said, yes, it's all part of the same thing. Now, there was some question about whether the accumulated income, which grew off the original corpus and then kind of sat there and got added separately, whether that counted as transferred by the decedent, because 2036 only applies to property that was transferred by the decedent. Now here, the fact that the decedent had power to accumulate the income, that linked the accumulated income to the original corpus through his power. So the whole value of the principal is included in the gross estate, including the accumulated income that was added later. Okay, so 2036A2 applies if the decedent transferred the property during life, retained for life some control over the income or possession or enjoyment of the property. And in that case, what we include is the value of the entire corpus. Those are corgi puppies, and that means it's the end of this set. Thank you for watching.